I was told not to let you pass.
I'm ready to begin.
From what I've heard, you have some proposal for me that would involve departing from Vlashim?
Yes, essentially. We need to divert attention elsewhere. To Benishov.
I know Benishov well. That could be done. And who are we to...
Merchant.
Do you want us to...
The road to Pilgrim.
I see. And what's in it for us?
Oh, I should think.
Very reasonable. And that's
That's all.
Now we've settled.
Thank you, sir.
I was told not to let you pass.
I have good news for you, Sir Anselm. I know who killed your friend.
Who was it?
It was Mladotta, one of the brigands.
How did you find out?
From the dice.
All right. I'll take care of it from here. And I owe you for helping me. Here, Henry, take this. I'm sorry I don't have more on me. But if you're ever in Prague, come and look me up, and I'll see you're well taken care of.
It's been a pleasure, Sir Anselm. Godspeed.
Yeah.
Greetings. What business have you?
I've got that necklace.
Excellent news! I'm not going to ask you how you did it. Here's a reward for you. Now you can carry on with your next task. I want you to sneak the jewellery into Carolina's trunk along with this letter.
Can't I just hand them to her?
You cannot! Under no circumstances must she find out who sent them. Otherwise the whole secret admirer ploy is fucked. Oh, and by the way, Henry, watch out for the butcher. He keeps a very close eye on his daughter, and if he catches you sniffing around, well, may all the saints preserve you. Once you've delivered the things, wait a day, and then come back and see me.
God be with you.
I'd like...
Uh-huh. And what? I'm sure you'll be...
Yeah.
Welcome, Henry.
God's blessings. See you later. Is there something you need? What? No sign, honey. God knows what it was.
God be with you, Henry.
God be with you, Henry.
Greetings. What business have you?
I delivered the things as you asked.
I already know. My spies told me everything. She was wearing the necklace this morning, as I asked in the letter.
So you'll go to the rendezvous with her?
Certainly not. I'm not going to pounce on her like a bull in rutting season. Her feelings must be allowed to mature gradually. Meanwhile, you'll get a potion for me.
I thought you didn't believe in witches' brews.
This is no witch's brew. It's an absolutely tried and tested elixir called Musk of Infinite Allure. There's a fellow in Sassau who sells it, and he guarantees its success.
Musk of Infinite Allure? Sounds irresistible. All right, I'll try and get it for you.
I'm sure I can rely on you. Here's some coin for your costs.
See you later.
Wine squeezed from grapes, cultivated from a rose bush.
Well, well, who have we here?
Ah, the prodigal son returns. I knew you'd come back to me one day.
Let me guess, you saw it in a dream?
I knew you were going to say that.
I had a dream of my own.
You too? So you learned something from me after all?
Yeah, it was just when I was getting pummeled by a mob of very irate villagers.
That unfortunate misunderstanding. What can you do?
Misunderstanding, yeah. I tried to explain that to them, but they were too busy kicking my arse to listen. I've heard you know of some irresistibility potion or whatever it is.
Naturally! Musk of infinite allure! An age-old recipe, maybe even older. Tested by Moses himself.
Moses?
How do you think he managed to get his people to follow him through the desert for 40 years? It's extremely potent.
Yeah, so it would seem. How much do you want for it?
Who do you take me for? The wisdom of the ancients isn't something that's bought and sold in the marketplace. Did Jesus charge for his miracles? But since you ask, how about this much?
What? That much? You're a crook.
As King Solomon said, honesty is for those who can afford it. If you like, I can mix the elixir for you in exchange for a small favor.
Oh, not again.
Now, is that any tone to use with your master? For shame.
Apologies, master. I was carried away by my thirst for knowledge.
I understand your impatience, but the way to wisdom is narrow and arduous.
And leads out the window. So what is it you want from me now?
My dear apprentice, everything's gone to the devil. I'm living from hand to mouth, sleeping on straw, and the local peasants won't buy from me. They say they don't trust me, as if I was some kind of charlatan. Can you believe it? Does this look to you like the face of a swindler? I'm an honest trader in sacred goods, whose only concern is the welfare of troubled souls. And any time now the slanderous gossip will spread here from Sassau. I should leave before things get worse. But I can't go anywhere until I've made a bit of coin. So what's needed is to give the locals a bit of encouragement, to open their hearts and purses.
I'm not going to go around beating people for you.
What do you take me for? I wouldn't hurt a fly. Violence is for the dull-witted. We must gently demonstrate to them the necessity of buying my remedies. For example, to ward off a revenant.
Revenant? What revenant?
The dead, returned from the grave. A corpse that the soul is unable to depart from, which wanders among the living, filled with rage at its wretched fate.
Yeah, I saw something like that once. But it was just some drunk going home from the tavern after losing all his money at dice.
Don't make light of such things. Now tell me, do you know how to deal with a revenant?
Set fire to it and piss on it?
You're not taking this seriously at all, are you? You are my trained apprentice, but the ignorant villager is entirely at a loss how to deal with such dark forces. It is our sacred duty to prepare them for such threats.
And how do you propose to do that?
Well, they're all doubting Thomases. They need proof. We'll need a grave, an empty grave that we can use. There's one along the way to Sassau, but it's got one minor shortcoming.
What's that?
Well, it's not entirely empty.
Not entirely? What does that mean?
You have to dig it up first.
But that's a sin.
Refusing to help the needy is also a sin. I haven't had a decent meal for 40 days and 40 nights.
My conscience is clear where your stomach is concerned. Disturbing a grave is a grave sin.
The grave is not in hallowed ground, so That's hardly worth one lord's prayer in penance. I asked a priest once, just out of curiosity.
Why this particular grave?
The locals don't like to talk about it, so it's surely got some sinister past behind it. And in places like that, revenants sprout up like mushrooms after rain.
Well, if that's how it is, we could open old wounds. That could easily set people against us. Again.
Then it would be best if no one could connect us to it, wouldn't it?
I'll need a spade then.
Yes, dig it up and remove the remains, leaving no trace.
And what am I to do with the remains?
Keep them. Human remains are always handy to have around.
Great. And how do we spread the word of this revenant?
There's a gossip in every village. Here, too, a woman who'll spread news quicker than a dozen messengers on the fastest steeds.
And what am I to tell this gossip?
All you have to do is casually mention the empty grave, and before evening, I'll wager the whole village will know about it.
Where does this woman live?
The last house on the left, on the road to Sassau. She was the first person I met here, and by the time I reached the village green, I already had a mob looking suspiciously at me. The rumor-mongering fishwife.
And that's all?
Not quite. You should ask her who was buried there. So we've got a story to work with.
So, dig up the grave, talk to the gossip.
And the remains. Don't forget to remove them. Otherwise, no one will believe in the revenant.
I might have known any task for Capon would turn into some insane escapade. Grave robbing. Jesus. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
God be with you, good wife. Has something happened here?
Heavens no. It's quiet here, unlike some other places.
And what about that empty grave?
What empty grave would that be now?
The one beyond the village, alongside the road to Sasau. Just by the river, on the Pine Headland.
How would you know it's empty, unless it was dug up?
Oh, it's dug up, all right. Freshly. And empty. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Lord in heaven, what in the name of...
How come it's not in hallowed ground, anyway? Only unrepentant sinners are buried like that. Usually.
I don't like to say. It's an old wound that's best forgotten.
Whose grave is it?
Well, once a long time ago there was a young charcoal burner living here with his wife. There was always a lot of charcoal burners here, but this fellow worked alone. That's not an easy job for one man.
No one wanted to work with him, or what?
Oh, he was a hard-headed fellow who always wanted to take care of his family himself.
Well, I can understand that. It's always better to work for yourself than break your back for someone else.
His wife was expecting, though no one knew it yet. And he wasn't doing well at all. Soon enough, they had nothing to eat. And so he took to thieving.
Well, thieving is wrong.
Aye, but when there's a child on the way and your wife hasn't the strength to get out of bed for the hunger, well, you ought to think differently.
And did he get caught?
Well, at first it was just a few eggs going missing from people's hen coops. But then it was anything that wasn't nailed down. And in the end, they caught him.
And I suppose he was harshly punished for it.
Even then he didn't let on why he was doing it. They whipped the skin off his back and banished him from Ledetchko.
So justice was done then?
It wasn't enough for some folk. When the butcher found out he'd never get any compensation, he wanted them to chop off the charcoal burner's hands. If the bailiff hadn't talked sense into him, he'd have done it himself with his cleaver.
Well, he got off lightly enough then.
And in the end, he got what was coming to him, and more.
The butcher caught up with him?
No, no. It was the mills of God turning slowly but surely. His wife bled to death in childbirth, and the child died with her.
I'm sorry to hear that. But at least he knew they were gone to a better place.
True, lad.
Nothing could have been done to save them.
There was no one there. He had no one who would care for his wife. They say on that day he parted ways with God forever, and he turned his back on the village too. I reckon he never forgave himself, nor us either.
The Lord moves in mysterious ways. But how did he end up?
Don't ask me that, lad. I beg you.
Come now, good wife. You can't leave the story unfinished.
I said no. Will you let it lie?
Health to you, Henry.
God grant you health.
I know who was buried in that grave. A young charcoal burner.
So begins the tragic tale of the young charcoal burner who became entangled with the devil himself.
Oh, don't start. What devil? I'm trying to tell you. Ugh. He was from Ledechko. He was trying to eke out a living for himself and his wife, but he couldn't manage. When she fell pregnant, he took to stealing.
Pride drove him from the straight and narrow path, and soon he sold his soul to the devil to fill his stomach.
They caught him and punished him, but some of the people he'd robbed didn't think it was enough. Then when his wife died in childbirth, and the child too, he blamed everyone for it. Even God, apparently.
But when the time came to pay his debt to hell, the devil had no use for his soul, and took his wife and child instead. The charcoal burner cursed God, who struck him down in righteous vengeance. But the dead man's soul never left his body. He came back as a revenant to vent his rage at God and men and take vengeance on the living.
Jesus, did you listen to what I said at all?
Sorry, did you say something?
Oh, never mind. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, the question is, what would the revenant do to get revenge on the villagers? Well, apprentice?
What about his wife and child? No doubt he'd want to avenge their death.
Well, how did they die?
In childbirth.
And when his love turned to rage, the water turned to blood. Nothing too original, but it's tried and tested. If you do it at the baths, everyone will hear of it.
How am I supposed to do that? It might be a bit suspicious if I'm seen walking around with a pail of blood.
No problem. There's a certain potion that will do the trick easily.
He was stealing food from people, right? So, supposing he started again.
We should steal from people? Disgraceful. Have you no shame?
Maybe just a few eggs from hen coops, like the gossip mentioned.
Well, that wouldn't be too serious a sin. Will they put it down to the revenant, though?
They would, if I put some charcoal there instead.
And their nourishment he turned into ash.
The gossip mentioned the butcher. It seems he was infuriated that the charcoal burner's punishment was too lenient.
And the revenant spoiled their meat with his malign touch.
How's that?
Spoiled meat is a classic example of a revenant's power.
Huh. I thought it was the work of bad butchers.
That too, sometimes.
So, I should switch the good meat for bad at the butcher's. What about the butcher woman?
What about her?
Her conscience was troubled on account of her man, and she couldn't sleep. But I helped her, so she's found some peace.
So, no problem then.
What? I'm supposed to scare the wits out of her and start all over again?
All right, if you can find some other solution, you don't have to switch the meat. But I wouldn't worry about her. But make sure it's the same kind of meat. Not even a revenant will turn a cow into a chicken.
He cursed God. That's very serious.
What is it that most brings God to mind?
They don't have a church there. But everyone will have a rosary. I can't think of anything else.
That's it! If folks start losing their rosaries, they'll have sleepless nights over it.
You want me to steal rosaries? But that's...
Or just exchange them.
For what?
For nothing.
Great.
So, switch eggs for charcoal, switch the meat, color the water in the baths, and switch the rosaries. That ought to do it. I hope so. Of course, if you come up with anything else, don't let me hold you back. Talking to people might give you ideas. Traders, the bailiff,
Well, what if someone sees me in the act?
They mustn't. Otherwise, it'll end up like Sasau all over again. Don't draw attention to yourself, or they'll put two and two together.
Sure. I'll keep my head down. And how would I know if I've succeeded? I doubt it'll be announced on the market square.
I'll be the first to know. They'll come running to me for a remedy, like hens at feeding time. Off you go and raise hell.
But whatever he did, don't you think he deserves some peace?
Dear Henry, after all the poor wretch went through, I'd say he's beyond any peace.
Well, he certainly won't have any as long as I'm carrying his bones around with me.
Ah, but you know who those remains could help.
Help? Who? How?
Me, of course. And I'd pay you a nice price for a revenant's bones.
But there is no revenant.
Not yet. What do you say?
All right, I'll sell them to you.
Splendid. Revenant bones. They'll be very useful indeed. Good luck, then.
What's the recipe for that potion you were talking about?
You mean for coloring the water? Ah, well...
Well?
Pay close attention now.
I'm all ears.
How love turned to bloodshed. Once there was a knight who, though upright and noble-looking, had a prickly, unapproachable appearance. He fell in love with a fragile young maid, whom he saw with her sisters in a field, all wearing bright red wimples. But he was afraid his prickly exterior would frighten her. So he asked the advice of another knight, a pious and learned crusader, who carried the name of the patron saint of his order with pride. The pious knight told him he would arrange a rendezvous with the maid. All three would drink wine together by the river, and he would help his friend to get acquainted with her. This they did, but the maid fell in love instead with the pious knight. The stern knight was enraged and challenged his rival to a duel. The two fought long and fiercely, but they were equally matched. And so, in the end, they both fell mortally wounded. Anguished at the tragedy her beauty had caused, the young maid took a dagger from one of the knights and plunged it into her own heart. Their bodies lay together on the ground, and the blood flowed from them into the river, turning the waters crimson.
I thought you were going to tell me the recipe, not some fable.
It is the recipe. I mean, the recipe is concealed in the story.
What on earth for?
So I don't forget it.
All right. So what does it mean?
I can't remember.
Great. So if you don't know, who does?
You'll figure it out, my loyal apprentice. I remember there are 3 plants in the story, but that's about all. But I know it was a simple recipe. It should be enough to grind the ingredients and brew them together for one turn. So, all you have to do is work out what the ingredients are from the story.
Sure. Why make things simple if you can complicate them? About that recipe.
Yes, you want to buy it?
Never mind. It can wait.
As you wish.
What's the recipe for that?
Pay close attention.
I'm all ears.
He fell in love with a fragile young maid, whom he saw with her sisters, but he was afraid his prickly exterior would... The pious knight told him he would arrange a rendezvous. This they did, but anguished their body. God be with you.
Good health to you, Henry.
Tell me, is Alois still...
No, He's gone forever. Ever since I... Good luck then.
Of Jerusalem.
I'm honored that you should come. May the Lord watch over you.
Chickens. That should be no problem.
God be with you, Henry.
Wine, sweet from grapes, was taken from a rose bush. Wine, squeezed from grapes, cultivated from a rose bush. Ladies and gentlemen, good men and good wine, come closer. Poor or rich, old or young, there's something here. Magical ointments, protective amulets, love potions and talismans to give you the luck.
God save you, Henry.
Problems with stomach ulcers? Buy my potions made from magical herbs plucked from the flanks of Mount Olympus. Wine squeezed from grapes, cultivated from a rose bush.
Who is it?
Salt sprinkled with the bloody tears of St. James Madonna. Mandrake roots taken straight from the gallows at midnight.
God be with you.
Who's there? Answer me.
Hosts baked in the temple.
How
of
are you, Henry?
Jerusalem. Powder made of the
Good day, Henry. What the? He's stealing! Watch out! A thief! Ah!
What on earth? God! A thief!
Should they, Henry?
This meat is too fresh.
See us. Hey, get up off that bed. You've no business here.
God be with you.
So, how am I doing so far?
Everyone's talking about the Revenant, as if it were the 11 plagues of Egypt.
Wasn't it 10?
Oh, you still have a lot to learn. Nevertheless, no one in Ledechko would eat a single egg, even if they had any, because all the hens are hexed.
Well, at least they've got fuel for their fires.
Half the village is without rosaries. Someone even wanted to buy one from me.
And did you sell it?
I don't trade in such banal goods. But I sold him a cat's paw.
I didn't know a cat's paw was good for warding off revenants.
Henry, all the goods I have are good for warding off revenants.
That's still not enough, is it?
You're getting there, but they need a bit more pushing. See you later.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Take care.
God be with you.
Is this
I suppose I could for how long?
just the one?
No problem.
Here you go.
You'll like it here.
Where do I...
That's easy. As soon as... Take care now.
look as if you've never seen a woman in your life. Is this your first time here?
Be quiet and let's do it quick. If anyone sees me here, it'll be all over town tomorrow.
Poor or rich, old or young, there's something here for everyone. magical ointments, protective amulets, love potions and talismans to give you the luck of the angels. God be with you.
So, how am I doing so far?
Good work, Henry. The whole village is shaking in its boots. Soon, people won't step outside the door without saying 3 Hail Marys.
Ugh, I'm glad to hear it. I'm beginning to feel haunted myself.
The baths are closed. No one will tell you why, but everyone is clearly frightened.
So, the job is done, eh?
Not quite.
But you just said the whole village is shaking with fear.
The whole village, but for one individual.
Well, surely that doesn't matter.
That's what I thought too. Only this fellow is giving everyone the benefit of his wisdom. He needs shaking up before he undoes your good work.
But if he's not been scared yet, what more can I do to frighten him?
Well, when he's not hanging around here ruining my trade, he's in the tavern boasting that he'd happily sleep by that empty grave to prove there's no revenant.
Yeah, I bet he would.
Exactly. He just needs a little persuasion. And once he's there, make it the most terrifying night of his life.
Well, what are we waiting for then?
It's best to be well prepared. You ought to find out something about him, so there's no surprises.
The gossip woman?
Naturally. And Henry, before we get to that grave, you can still try and come up with more ways to frighten the villagers. The more terrified they are, the more groschen there'll be in it for me. For us, that is. Goodbye. Wine squeezed from grapes cultivated from a rose bush.
Good wife.
You're still here, lad? I thought you'd have fled by now.
Fled? Why on earth would I do that?
Because there's a revenant on the prowl. The whole village is talking about it, and everyone is terrified.
Ah, that. But I heard there's one brave lad who's not afraid.
You mean Felix?
Well, I don't know what his name is, but he's always arguing in the tavern that there's no revenant.
That's him. The fool doesn't believe what's going on under his own nose. He hasn't the sense he was born with.
He even said he'd spend the night at the graveside, just to prove there's no revenant.
Aye, all talk and no action.
Is he brave or just stupid? Surely he's afraid of something.
I couldn't tell you. But if he's to be believed, he doesn't fear the devil himself.
And do you believe him?
Well, it's true he never seems bothered by anything. But then he's always with that other pair.
What pair?
2 mates of his.
But he was alone in the tavern.
Aye, they're not locals, but outside the village, wherever he goes, they go with him.
Who are these 2 fellas?
They're not bad lads, but they're no heroes, that's for sure.
How's that?
Them 2 have their fears, but then who doesn't?
What are they afraid of?
The first one wouldn't even go into the woods alone, because he's afraid of wild animals.
Ah, is that so? I wonder why.
He got lost in the forest as a young lad, and he wasn't found till next morning. Shaking and pale as a ghost he was when they found him.
Poor lad. He must have been scared out of his wits.
That he was.
What about the other one?
He's afraid of fire.
Why?
His own father burned him, God forgive him. As a young lad, he was playing with fire and nearly set fire to the house. So his pa taught him a lesson he wouldn't forget.
Poor lad. That's a terrible way to teach a child.
My words, exactly.
Ah, it's been an interesting chat. Thanks, good wife.
Salt sprinkled with the bloody tears of St. James Madonna.
This brave fella, Felix his name is, if we can get him to spend the night at the grave, he won't be alone. Wherever he goes, he always has two mates tagging along.
Like he's afraid to be alone.
Could be.
So, if we could get him there alone, it shouldn't be too hard to scare him.
Maybe, maybe not. He claims he's not afraid of anything.
That's easy to say. I'm not so sure. Only, we have to get rid of the other two. What do you know about them?
One of them is afraid of wild animals. Won't even go into the woods on his own.
I see. And the other one?
He's afraid of fire, but I doubt an ordinary campfire would do the trick.
Well, we'll think of something. Anyway, you take care of the first one.
How, though?
Haven't you learned anything from me? Talk to a dog.
Of course. Why didn't I think of that? Any particular one, Master?
Oh, the most frightening one, of course.
And how am I supposed to recognize him? One looks the same as another.
By his bark, naturally. Can't you hear him? He'd scare the wits out of anyone.
That's a dog.
Either that or Satan in the guise of a beast.
All right. And what do I do with him?
Have a conversation with him and see if you can mimic his bark.
Yeah, great idea. People will think I'm barking mad.
God be with you.
Good health to you, Henry.
Good day, Henry.
Come on then. Bark. Oof, what a beast you are. Right, let's see. Whoa. Whoa. Again. Whoa. 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 That's still not quite it. Yeah. Boo. 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 That's it. And now I'm officially the village idiot.
Well, I know. Powder made of the bones of Saint Thomas. God. So.
I found that mutt. Although from the noises it made, you'd hardly guess it was a dog.
So you've learned to bark?
I have, master.
So bark.
I never thought I'd stoop so low. Bow! Bow!
Perfect!
But what if it's not enough?
Ah, ye of little faith. Besides, can you think of any other way?
If we want to have him there on his own, I could always knock the other two out.
And what if he finds them unconscious?
I can always haul them off somewhere he won't find them.
Just make sure you don't botch it, Henry. It could easily turn very sour.
Don't worry. But what about the other fella?
Ah, yes, apprentice. You have the good fortune to witness a genius at work. Watch and learn. An oil lamp.
An oil lamp?
Precisely. Isn't it ingenious?
A marvellous invention, I grant you. But what do you want to do with it?
That's the clever part. I've hung a lamp like this over the Revenant's grave. All you have to do is shoot it down. It'll fall on the grave and burst into flames.
Well, that could work. Only...
Only what?
How can you be sure I'll manage to shoot it down?
I believe in you, Henry. You're my apprentice, versed in the ways of our craft.
Right, I almost forgot.
Anyway, you can practice. The lamp is already hanging up. It just hasn't been lit yet.
Aye, I'll give it a go. And then what?
Then you just have to goad our Felix into putting his money where his mouth is.
But what if he doesn't fall for it?
Refusing would ruin his credibility. Go and see him. I'll bet you anything, if you present it right, he'll jump at it.
All right, I'll give it a try.
Good. Don't delay, though. Practice with the lamp first, if you like, or just go straight to him. Wine squeezed from grapes and from a rose bush.
I've heard there's a revenant haunting these parts.
Ah, you don't want to believe those old wives' tales.
Well, it's not true, then.
Of course not. It's just a lot of fairy tales.
Oh, I don't know. Aren't you afraid?
Ha! What's there to be afraid of?
Well, that's easy to say.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing. It's just that, well, bold talk doesn't prove anything.
Are you saying I'm lying?
Well, can you prove your claims?
What?
Well, supposing you spent the night at that grave, like you say. That'd prove there's no revenant, wouldn't it?
You reckon so? I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Besides, since you're so fearless, it'd be nothing to you, right?
Aye, that's right.
How about something to buck up your courage? Nah, probably not. You don't need it.
I don't, but it can't hurt. Thanks, Em.
So when are you going to do it?
Just as soon as I can in the evening.
Right. And now you can... Shh! Quiet, Henry. You'll give us away.
Sorry. What's that you're wearing?
What do you think it is?
I don't know, some new fashion?
It's my Revenant costume, of course.
My apologies, Master, for not recognising it immediately.
You obviously still have a lot to learn.
So did they come?
Yes, all three. They're camping at the top of the hill.
Right. I'll have time to get haunting then. Where do I start?
I'll leave that up to you. The main thing is to scare off the two cronies first. I'll take care of fearless Felix.
So I'll scare one off with the lamp?
Yes, just make sure no one sees you shooting.
And the other one with fearsome noises.
That will probably take a few attempts. Ideally, a bit at a time.
Let him work up an appetite for more, so to speak.
I couldn't have put it better myself. Just don't give yourself away.
I won't, but if they do happen to see me coming...
Then you'd better vanish like a wisp of smoke, or make some excuse.
And what will you be doing?
I'll wait somewhere out of the way for a while, and then I'll crash in. So make sure the other two are gone by then.
All right.
What?
Wolves, for one thing.
And have you ever seen a wolf around here?
No. But I heard them.
Calm down. Every chicken out. We'll be the laughing stock of the day.
I suppose so.
Well then, get a grip on yourself.
Felix?
Aye, what is it?
Did you bring your rosary?
No. What for?
Protection?
Protection from what?
I don't know. What if there really is a revenant?
Christ, man. I thought you had no sense.
That's a strange sound. What was that? Christ, I've got to get away from here.
That's a strange sound. What kind, I suppose? That's a strange sound. Animal, I suppose.
What's that noise? What kind of animal makes a noise like that? Ah, nonsense. What's there to be afraid of here?
Well, wolves for one thing.
And have you ever seen a wolf around here? What's that noise? What kind of animal makes a noise like that?
Where did that fire come from? Jesus, no. No fire. No, 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 no. Jesus Christ. Ah.
I didn't do anything. Leave me alone.
That was something.
How did you like that, eh?
Wonderful! I haven't had so much fun since I dressed up as the Pope.
Did you see him run? Like all the demons of hell were on their heels.
One was quite enough, evidently.
So what now?
Now I just wait for my customers to turn up. Come and see me tomorrow before noon, and you'll get your well-earned reward. Hey! bloody tears of... God save you.
About that recipe.
Yes, you want to buy it?
Never mind.
As you wish. Good luck then. James Madonna. God be with you. Take care. Mandrake roots taken straight from the gallows at midnight.
Henry, I'm glad you stopped by.
Salt sprinkled with the bloody tears of St. James Madonna. Ah, my dear apprentice, how happy I am to see you.
So, it all worked out then?
Like a dream. I didn't sell half as much in Sasau.
That's good news. Now, about that thing you promised me.
Your well-deserved reward, certainly. Here you have it.
What will you do now?
Well, I could leave. I've got just enough to cover my travel. But I'd be as poor as a church mouse in the next place, so I'd better wait and see if I can sell even more.
Well, at least I'll know where to find you.
Mandrake roots taken straight from the gallows. How are you, Henry?
Greetings. What business have you?
I got you that potion from the charlatan.
What charlatan? He's a man of learning who even cured the Pope of impotence. But thanks, Henry. I really appreciate your help. Once I drink this potion, every woman will faint at my feet. but I'm only interested in one. The fairest creature on God's green earth.
Yeah, the butcher's daughter, I know. And then what?
A rendezvous. She and I, under the cloak of night. And you shall be my herald of exalted words. You will hide and prompt me from a book of poetry.
I'll do what?
Here's a book of poems. I'll need a little time to get ready. Meanwhile, you can learn some poems off by heart. You'll prompt me.
Learn poetry? Me? That sounds... well, not exactly...
Stop wasting time and get to it. Come back to me in a couple of hours. I have to get dressed up and groomed, and it'll take a while before the potion takes effect. Good luck then.
ready, Sir Hans?
Henry, something's gone wrong.
Open up. I'm not going to talk to the door.
That potion tasted rather odd, and now I have a feeling my face is broken out. How do I look?
No offence, sir, but you gave me quite a fright. It looks as though you've slept with your head inside a wasp's nest.
God's holy breeches, I knew it! And it's nearly time for my rendezvous with Carolina. What am I going to do?
You just sit tight, and I'll go and find you some antidote.
All right. But hurry, Henry. I can't wait any longer.
The best cure for this kind of thing is marigold decoction. I can get you that right away.
Greetings. What do you need?
I've got a remedy for you.
About time. Give it here. As soon as I'm healed, we'll go.
Good luck, then.
It's gone! I'm as gorgeous as before. Let's go! Tell me, Henry, how many girls have you had in your life? If you've had any at all, that is.
Well, there's been a few, but I'm sure I can't compare with you.
Ha! Very true. One day plays will be written about my amorous adventures.
Comedies or tragedies?
That might depend on how things go tonight.
God be with you, Henry.
There's another very pretty girl living in this house here, but she's already got a suitor.
Since when has that ever bothered you?
Since the time her fellow threw me headfirst into a dung heap and kicked my arse for good measure.
It seems your future subjects don't hesitate to take a stick to you when it comes to minding the womenfolk.
I doubt he would have done it if he recognized me. I was, incognito.
God save you, Henry.
We're almost there. You'll hide behind a gravestone or in the bushes and don't budge from there. Otherwise you might scare her off.
Hide, Henry. Time to get started.
How do you know it's her who will come out and not someone else?
She got the letter and necklace, didn't she? She knows that that is, her secret admirer is coming.
And what am I supposed to do?
What do you think, dolt? Prompt me from that book of poetry.
Get a move on. I don't want to turn up late to see the love of my life. Get a move on. I don't want to turn up late to see the love of my life. Get a move on. I don't want to turn up late to see the love of my life.
Who's there? Hey.
Who's there? I can't see you.
Your most ardent admirer, fair maid.
Uh-huh. And do you have a name?
What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would still be a flower, wouldn't it?
Start. How?
What are you saying? I can't hear you.
Gentle night, why linger on? I yearn thus for my love so long. Without her words to still my breast, who shall set my soul to rest?
Gentle night, why linger on? I earned this from my love so long. Whip out your worthy silky breasts. Who shall suck my salty bits?
No! And now my heart in sorrow dwells, from melancholic pining swells, since I, alas, was forced to part from the mistress of my heart.
I know my horses sort of well, some alcohol from 9 to 12. Seems I always have whores apart from the mistress of my heart.
Psst. What on earth are you saying?
What's that hissing?
It's, a feral goose here in the bushes.
Ah, Lord, let me not wait in vain. I long to see my love again. O gentle sir, be of good cheer. I shall not cling to another dear.
Landlord, let me not wait in vain. I long to sing and laugh again. O gentle sir, get off your chair. I shall not bring you another beer.
Jesus, Henry! What kind of yokel nonsense are you babbling? Me? You're the one who's babbling?
You're an odd one. I've never heard such peculiar poetry in my life. Where on earth did you come up with it?
Coward! Say something.
How did you like it, dearest?
Ah, how tender you are. Father is coming! Hide!
What's that talking? If it's some Danny again, I'll gut with my filleting knife.
I didn't hear anyone.
Did you hear what he said?
But I have a bad feeling about this, Hans. I think we should...
Are you still there?
Still here, my love. How could I have apart from you?
Father's coming! He'll kill you!
He will not. Because it'll never cross his mind where I'll be. Henry, it's time for me to claim my prize. Whatever happens, cover my back.
There you are, you seducer! Now you'll see how a butcher protects his daughter's honor.
Buy me time.
You got some explaining to do, you bastard!
What are you after? You bastard sneaking around an honest citizen's house in the dark?
I went to mourn over the grave of my great-grandmother.
Oh, yeah. Then what are you doing right beneath my window, eh?
Now, the question is, why are you trampling on great-granny's grave, eh?
Enough of your horse shit. One more word, and I'll have you.
You really came.
How could I not, my dearest?
Not so fast, Prince Charming. But, since you're here...
Hey, what was that?
What was what?
That noise. I'm sure I heard a strange noise.
We're here in the cemetery. Maybe restless spirits, what do you reckon?
I'd swear it came from the window of my own house.
Well, what's that got to do with me?
Someone's been creeping around after my daughter. I come out, and I find you here. Quite a coincidence, eh? So, out with the truth.
You're quite mistaken. I've never laid eyes on your daughter, and if she looks anything like you, I'd rather keep it that way.
Why, you fucking...
Mon petit lapin.
There's a lace here. Untie it.
Don't try to make a fool of me. I heard it clearly. What was that?
Are you all right? It seems to me you're hearing things other folk can't hear. That's not good.
You're saying I'm hearing voices in my head?
Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. St. Euphrosyne of Polotsk heard voices too, and she founded a monastery and churches and things.
I heard voices too. Well, could have been voices. I wouldn't swear to it, though.
Look, fellas, I was standing right here, and I didn't hear a thing. Do you take me for a madman?
Whatever you are, I want to know what you're doing under my daughter's window, and who was talking to her. I heard it clear as day.
Good neighbour, it can't be denied that old age dulls a man's ears. I'm here alone, praying for the souls of the good people resting in the cemetery. I've nothing to do with your daughter.
That voice sounded different to yours, though. But where did he get to? You must have seen him. Unless you're covering for him.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
Jasem skutni hori kodelnikov syn.
What the fuck are you playing at? My patience is wearing thin.
Jasem skutni hori kodelnikov syn.
Jesus, stop your damn screeching.
What a lovely evening we're having. Nice and mild, eh? Seems to me it was hotter this time last year, don't you think?
I swear I'll go mad if I have to listen to another word from you. Lads, shut this fucker up. You'll get the hiding of your life.
Is that the best you can do?
You call that... Kurva fix!
Enjoy this.
Go! You're done for, fucker! Here!
Ow!
Now!
Ow!
day, Henry.
God save you, Henry.
The Lord be praised. What brings you to me?
How did it go with Carolina, Sans?
Henry, it was the most wonderful night of my life. She was completely entranced by my courting. I hardly had to touch her, and she melted in my arms. And then she took me to paradise. It was glorious. It was sublime. Thanks, in part, to you, my faithful henchman and messenger of love. You've earned your reward.
It was an honor, Sir Hans. When are you going to see her again?
Oh, I'm not going to see her again. All beautiful things must come to an end, and, after all, I am a nobleman, and she is the butcher's daughter.
Well, that's how it ends, with the love of your life. After the secret gifts, the letters, the intrigues, reciting poetry in the moonlight.
My eloquence was wasted on her, Henry. Imagine, the silly cow couldn't even read. She returned the letter to me unopened. Here's the letter, Henry. Read it. At least you're capable of appreciating my literary talent. Read and learn from a poet.
See you later.
God be with you, Henry.
And well, I'm sure we can come to some agreement, your lordship.
Well, bearing in mind, Master Butcher, that we have nothing to come to agreement about yet.
Well, yes, sir. No, sir. Well, I thought I ought to let you know what happened. My daughter's good name could be besmirched, dragged through the mud. And his young lordship's too, of course.
Well, only if she should find us